Well, it's been quite a while since we talked about the tropics, but still, hurricane season does go on until November 30th, and we now have Tropical Depression 18 down in the Caribbean Sea. Now, this has winds sustained of 35 miles an hour and a central pressure of 1,003 millibars. And 18 is expected to strengthen into a tropical storm over the next day or so before gaining Category 1 status as it treks over the western edge of Cuba. After that, there remain a lot of question marks about the track of this system, but one thing is for certain, it will move into the Gulf of Mexico and it will interact with some wind shear, and that's going to cause it to weaken before it potentially makes landfall somewhere on the Gulf Coast of the United States. So, taking a look at all of our spaghetti models, the possible track, it is very certain that this system is going to trek over that western edge of Cuba, but then after that remain a lot of question marks. As you can see, the main consensus with the GFS making some landfall around this Gulf Coast stretching from anywhere Louisiana all the way to the panhandle of Florida, and then a couple of other spaghetti plots even going back out into the western edge of the Gulf or making a beeline over here into the Florida Peninsula. Right now, taking a look at the Euro models, once again, a good agreement that this is going to trek over that western edge of Cuba, but then the Euro hinting at maybe even a possible westward turn into the Gulf of Mexico, maybe impacting coastal areas of Texas or Mexico. So still a lot of details to fine tune in terms of that, but one thing is for certain, here in central Georgia, we're expecting a surge of tropical moisture, and this is going to bring widespread rain starting to enter the atmosphere sometime around the morning hours on Wednesday. It's going to be very scattered in nature, but by the time we reach the afternoon, that's when we're looking at better coverage area of this rain. And this is going to be in the form of light showers to steady showers to even some pockets of heavier rain that you're seeing in these darker colors all across the area. That will go on into Wednesday night and still is going to linger into the morning hours on Thursday, maybe even into the afternoon hours, but still, it's all going to depend on the possible path that the system does take once it gets closer to our neck of the woods here. Now, taking a look at how much rainfall, a couple of light showers are all that are forecasted for the next day or so, but we're looking at locally heavy rainfall amounts, maybe upwards to about 2, 3, even 4 inches right now is what's forecasted for Montezuma. Again, there's going to be a lot of change in the location of the heaviest rainfall accumulation totals and also how much widespread rain we do receive here across central Georgia. But taking a look at the names, since Hurricane Milton impacted Florida, we have had 3 named storms. That would be Nadine, Oscar, and Patty, which is currently out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So the next name on the list would be Raphael, which this system is expected to gain over the next day or so. But with the headlines, with Tropical Depression 18 as of right now, forecasted to strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane, going to be pretty brief, maybe for about a day or so. And then as it interacts with that wind shear in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, then it is expected to weaken back into tropical storm status and hopefully even further before making a potential landfall. Only forecasted to be a rainmaker here in central Georgia, which is going to be very good news because you can see we just broke a stretch this morning, in fact, of 36 days in a row that we have not received rainfall recorded here and in the Macon area. So it's coming at a very opportune time, but also with how loose the soil is, heavy rainfall accumulation amounts will pose a potential threat of some flooding risk here. So this is something we're continuing to keep an eye on, but as of right now, it is only forecasted to bring us some much needed rain here in central Georgia. Still a lot of details to fine tune with that path a little bit further into the Gulf of Mexico about how close this system may get to our neck of the woods.